Just
Oh yeah.
started. Just, okay. I just wanted to make sure that you let people know that we're going to be recording.
Oh yeah. And we'll be recording this documents. I think we all know each other here. I think we have the same familiar folks who come to all of our board to a lot of our board meetings here. And I see Kristen Parker. Kristen, hi, good to see you. All right. Well, hey, welcome to our May 1st ATJ board meeting public session. And we'll begin with the April ATJ board meeting minutes. And so that is on page 2 through 6 of your packet. And hopefully board members have had a chance to review that. And if they have any questions or edits to make, and if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the meeting minutes for April.
Great. Thanks, Mercedes. Been moved to approve. Anyone second on the board?
I second. Oh,
Go ahead.
Great. Thanks, Lolly. Oh, and Maya. Okay. Um, it's been moved in second. All in favor, please just raise your hand. Okay. Anybody oppose? All right. Thank you all. We are now moving to the ATJ decision framework and request for support process. So I'm going to hand it to Maya. Hi, Maya.
Hi, y'all. Um, so if you look at page 2, essentially after the meeting minutes, you'll be able to see sort of the current version of my AirPods.
Yep, we can hear you. Or I can hear you. Oh, you're muted now.
Sorry, my AirPods connected, but not on my audio. So I could still hear you guys, but you guys couldn't hear me. So
Ah,
so we'll work through it. Um, uh, So if you look at after the meeting minutes, the Access to Justice Board support request is there, the current version. The idea or concept is when the board gets a request or when Bonnie gets a request or maybe putting this on our website even folks can sort of fill this out so we can kind of get an idea in terms of delegations of tasks and being able to see if this can start out at one of the committees or if this can start out with the board or if this can be something with the executive committee, full board, etc. And so this started out where Michael had this email template that he sent out. And so I sort of just consolidated it. And the goal will be to create it in like a Microsoft Forms for folks to be able to complete. And then from there, we can sort of, based off of the priority, based off of what it sort of states within the form, be able to see who would follow up or how we would address sort of the issue. Um, so open to any feedback. I think the goal is we wanted to show this to not only the boards, the one that will receive the form, but also to the community members, the ones who would see the form sort of at the same time to sort of be able to get the feedback.
thanks, Maya. And so what Maya was referencing was when I think it was probably earlier this year or late last year, we've been getting a lot of different requests from community members, organizations, things like that, saying, hey, we would like support from ATJ board on XYZ. And what I had sent out, like an email with like 101 questions to fill out. And I got feedback from folks who did fill it out, which I was grateful that they did, but it was probably too TMI, too much information. And it really kind of probably was like over the top. And so this form that Maya, which I really appreciate Maya, your help on this, actually helps to kind of narrow it down. Like, what are we asking? Like, what's the ask? Like, is it to support? Is it to attend meetings, timelines? What's the support around? And then for us internally to decide, which committee actually or entity at the Access Adjusted Board would be best positioned to respond. And so it really helps to streamline it and really help. Thank you, Maya, for doing that, because sometimes we get so wordy and then all of a sudden it just gets, the feedback was too much. So appreciate just that. And of course, this is just the first start. We would always go back and say, hey, we need more information, or do you have some additional thing? Just because we want to make sure that we're well informed of the situation so that we can better support. So, but like Maya said, love to hear feedback from folks who are partners in this work to see if that kind of helps, if that can be useful, anything we should add, maybe take out, things like that. So that's kind of the purpose of this.
Michael, I see you have your hand up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'll give
Yep.
my 2 cents. I think one thing you might want to add to the form is just maybe even in the first and last name kind of question, like, is this an organizational request? What organization are you from? Just so we know, it might help with deduplication of people asking for support. And I like it as a template. I don't know that I would like it as like a form that's posted on a website for people to fill out. I think if part of the goal is to make connection with the ATJ board easier, having a live email dialogue about that, I think benefits that end a lot more than a form. And I'm sure a lot of you've got forms on your website and stuff. I mean, I just get people, they send me stuff about whatever for pro bono counsel. It has nothing to do with whether or not they have a real request or is relevant. I get bots all the time. So I just think you might want to consider keeping it as some sort of template instead of an open form for folks to raid on your website.
Hey, good input. Thanks. And I'd also be curious, feedback from our providers, like if you have something similar like this or something that we can also, because I think if, what has been your experience? Has it been a raid? Like if Northwest Justice Project puts something, hey, we can help you, and it becomes, over daunting. Any of that experience would be helpful for us. Like I said, one of the things that I know that being on this board is that sometimes board members will, just because of the community context that we have, sometimes organizations or individuals will reach out to a specific board member or to staff. And our hope is to really kind of centralize that so that when the executive committee and our board reviews these requests, we can be really thoughtful and so helping to kind of streamline that. So I think that email idea or just that will help to streamline. And then I will just say, just in my experience, there's been things where there have been requests even from folks even on this call where they send me something and I feel like I'm on a list of many things, and those things sometimes slip through the crack in terms of ATJ board response, and so I know that has happened, at least my experience on that. So, all right. Maya, do we need to have I don't think we need to have a motion, is that right? Or is it just a discussion, right? No? Okay.
Any sort of feedback, if anybody want to provide it. Thank you for that. I'm making the comment that you made, Michael, directly on the form right now. But if anybody else has any feedback, please let me know.
Great. Thank you. Okay, let's go on to the next topic, which is GR34 Fee Waiver Obstacles. And it says Nick Gellert. I don't know. Nick is here, or is that supposed to be you?
Yeah,
We corrected the agenda. That was a
it's
Okay.
okay. I love Nick. He's a great guy. So I'm Nick Larson on the ATJ board. We had a great discussion at the last meeting for those that were here about GR34 fee waiver obstacles. Rhea and Meredith presented to the whole board and gave an excellent presentation. We really appreciate that from them. And after that presentation, we sent a letter to the Supreme Court raising this issue to their attention again. It had already been raised, but we just kind of put it at the front of their inbox. And we also invited Rhea and Meredith to come to our ATJ Rules Committee meeting, which we just held about a week ago. I'm the rules chair, and great for us. Chief Justice Stevens actually responded to our letter before that Rules Committee meeting. So on April 17th, she sent a letter back saying that the Supreme Court appreciates the ATJ board looking at this issue, and that she would suggest that we try to convene all the stakeholders on this issue across the state for a meeting to discuss some options and some ways to potentially amend or improve the process or streamline or get on the same page with regards to what's going on with the fee waivers. And again, if you're not familiar, I'm sure everyone is, but GR 34 allows indigent litigants to seek waivers of filing fees and surcharges. So we had the ATJ Rules Committee meet. The ATJ Rules Committee met, and we came up with the brilliant idea of telling Chief Justice Stevens that we agree with her. So all credit to us for that. And now I've drafted a response to her letter, which says, thanks for your letter. We agree. We would love to have a meeting. When are you available? So I feel like in Hamilton, and I'm the musical Hamilton, and I'm just writing letters back and forth with somebody across the country. But ultimately, we're hoping that she will agree to come to a meeting sometime soon. Let us know when she's available, and then we can use that as a basis to get stakeholders from across the country, across the state, to come to that meeting and participate. She had said in her letter that the ATJ conference is a natural place for this, but there's no ATJ conference this year. So we're trying to do it this year and sooner, because this issue is not going away and impacts people every day in court. So I've drafted a letter. I sent it out, Mike, Maya, Diana, to you guys. So I guess I'll make a motion to this board to approve sending a letter back to Chief Justice Stevens and just saying we agree with her and we want her to help us convene a meeting. That's all the letter says, and just see when she's available to do that. So I'll make that motion and stop to see if there's a second or any discussion or questions.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Are there any questions about kind of the next step that I think Nick has kind of laid out in terms, and I think it's a great strategy because you're correct. We don't have an ATJ conference this year. It's going to be next year. And I think we're still kind of looking at finalizing locations and venues and dates on that. But one of the things that I was curious if folks know, because in the Chief Justice letter, she had mentioned that ATJ Board had done some convening at a ATJ conference. Is there anyone on this call that actually attended kind of or have historical knowledge about how that was done at an ATJ conference around GR 34? I don't know if there's anybody, because I wasn't aware that actually I wasn't aware of that history. The ATJ board actually did do some work in the past, and that was referenced in the letter that her response.
Mike, my understanding of that is that she's referring to the fact that it's been discussed in prior AGA conferences, and that clerks, for example, have attended prior conferences. I don't recall, Diana might know, but I don't recall a specific,
Like
breakout
a session. Okay.
or something like that where everyone was there and this was particularly addressed. That would have been great if it had been, but that's not to my knowledge, happened, and nor did anyone on the rules committee know of anything like that had previously occurred. But if anyone does know of that, great, that would be helpful. But I think it's come up tangentially or just related to all the issues of the HJ conference that do touch on this. But this would be kind of building on that or better than that, because it would be specifically addressing this issue only.
Okay. Thanks, Nick, for clarifying that, because I was really curious that, hey, because maybe it was a conference I had not attended, or maybe it was 10 years ago that happened. But I was kind of that's helpful. Did the rules committee talk a little bit about like providing comments or submitting comments to the to GR 34 in terms of proposed comments to that rule, or any other possible strategies around how we could kind of a multi-strategy approach?
Yeah, so I mean, Rhea and Meredith talked about this a little bit at the last meeting and talked about it again in our rules committee meeting. And
Mhm.
they said essentially there's a lot of different ideas out there, and they have certainly several suggestions that they would like to see implemented. But if the stakeholder groups don't come together and talk and get on the same page,
Mhm.
there's going to just be
Yep.
objections to those. And so it's kind of
Mhm.
like getting ahead of ourselves. And really what they're talking about is there are particular groups and particular clerks that don't agree that this
Mhm.
is a problem. And so trying to see their perspective, trying to get back to discussing what the purpose of the rule is, and how it should be implemented,
Mhm.
in the somewhat, um, I don't know, similar manner across the state would be helpful. But
Mhm.
it's not. And so rather than firing off an amendment, and not having a discussion, they think that, the Chief Justice is right, that we should have a discussion. So
Great.
ultimately,
Okay.
even though we discussed a bunch of things, the best idea we had was just to agree with her. So
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks, Nick. Maya.
Yes, I read the letter that Nick sent, and I really liked it. I really liked the concept of like maybe co-hosting or hosting the conversation, so
Mhm.
making sure that the Chief Justice is there because I think sort of what Nick is saying, like, yeah, we could do a proposed comment, but I think having the Chief Justice there and hearing the discourse, they may be able to do something and start something themselves. So I second the motion. And so that's what I'll just say there.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Maya.
I will
Any,
just
yeah, go ahead,
add,
Sarah. Yep.
I got a little bit of context from some folks that were involved in this previously. And I don't know when to make this, but from them cautioning against any opening of the rule, because when the rule was initially, or any comments, like even comments to the rule, because the
Mm.
clerks at the time that the rule was implemented tried to roll back a fair amount of it and change language, and that any opening, even of additional comments to the rule, could potentially open up the whole thing and
Mm.
set things back. I have no firsthand knowledge of that. This is just coming from
Mhm.
historical perspective.
Mhm.
So yeah, for what it's worth.
Yeah. No, thanks, Sarah. That's actually really helpful to kind of see kind of like what are the, we talk about opportunities and what are the threats to doing, that next step. So anybody else have any other questions around either the next steps that Nick has proposed for the board to convene a meeting or engage Chief Justice Stevens to convene a meeting? And part of the ATJ board is to convene. So I think that is one of our roles is to convene stakeholders, to discussions, especially on this important topics like this. Anyone else? And our guests can also chime in too. Okay. So Nick, do we need to have a motion to
I made a
approve the
motion, but
letter?
I didn't send
Yep.
it to you in the
Oh,
letter, Mike, so I could
oh,
write you one if you want, but I think I already said one.
yeah. Okay. And we had a second? Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay, perfect. Okay. Thanks for tracking. It's been moved to second. Any other discussion? Okay, please raise your hand if you agree to that we will send out this letter from the board. Anybody opposed? All right. And thank you to our partners in this meeting, just because we will keep you updated as we hear back in this back and forth email, and hopefully we'll have some commitments or some ideas of next steps. So,
Sorry, Mike, just really quickly, just to
yeah,
clarify, that was everyone voted in the affirmative, no abstentions, no uh
no dissension or,
yeah,
yeah,
dissensions. Okay.
I believe that's correct. Yes.
And Mike, I
Yeah.
think it's really good to get this letter out soon so we can get it to the Chief Justice and get back to us. So I think it's ready to go. It has your signature on it. It's on the letterhead. If you or
Yep.
Maya, Diana, Bonnie, Andrea, if anyone has comments or to the draft, just email them back or put them in today, Monday or whatever, so we can get this out. It's a very short letter.
Yep.
Yeah, I could send it out if Mike, since it has your signature on it, if you could just confirm via email, and then once
Yeah,
I'll send it
Yep.
out to
whenever you get a chance, Mike.
Yeah, yeah, I'll send an email to you, Diana, and yeah, we can get it out because that's my signature is on it. So good. All right. Moving on. So next topic is committee chair updates. So we have myself, Nick, and Maya to provide some updates on some of the committee work that we are currently doing. Um, who wants to go first? Nick? Okay. I didn't want to go first. That's why I didn't want to volunteer.
The ATJ Rules Committee met and we talked about GR 34. You may have heard about this already, so I will not repeat myself. We put all other business to our next meeting because we were focused on that. That's my update. I will not write it in a handwritten letter to anyone.
Wait, there was one other thing, just because I happen to be there,
No,
that
you're
Kate
right.
Miller
There was
invited
AP.
folks to join her little group, Rule
Sorry, go ahead, Diane.
1.8. So you did do one other thing.
Those are big things. Those are big things. Good. Maya, do you want to go next on the tech?
Sure. Yes. So with the tech committee, what we're really focusing on is educating court administrators and folks in the courts about the ATJ tech principles. So we're creating some fun little bookmarks, creating sort of updating the one pager to make it all looking very nice. So that should be coming out soon, and folks could be able to have the ATJ tech principles sort of like as a bookmark to remind themselves daily. And then outside of that, we are trying to set up sort of like an e-learning module for clerks, judges to be able to participate in or walk through on their own to learn about the ATJ tech principles, and trying to figure out a way that we can do training sort of at a judges, like the new judges sort of conference, or it's something at the at a conference or some way where there's a lot of judges or clerks basically. And then the final thing is we will be having a CLE in September with the legal lunchbox. So really right now what we're really focusing on is education for the ATJ tech principles. The reason being is, especially with the new technology, I guess not new anymore, technology of AI, a lot of folks are asking us to update the ATJ tech principles, where we don't really need to update them. You really just use the you walk through the tech principles when you're thinking about using AI or not. So that's how we're sort of trying to educate folks on that. So yeah, I think that's really much it that we're really focusing on. There is conversations regarding different rules or different ways in which we can ensure access to remote hearings, as well as different ways courts can use tech, but those are sort of something we're always sort of working on as we work on these big projects.
All right. Thanks, Maya, for the update. Any questions for Maya or for Nick, I should say, if you have any questions for the Rules Committee or the Tech Committee?
I'll clarify that what I said earlier, Mike, and Michael put it in the chat. RPC 1.8 does have a working group, and what time is the meeting Monday, Michael? Do you know?
One looking right now, I think 1 o'clock rings a bell.
Okay.
It is, yeah, 1 p.m.
Okay, so if anyone's interested in that, Karen also came to our meeting and she did make a pitch to say that anyone on the ATJ Rules Committee or anyone on the ATJ Board or anyone who's interested in working with that group. I know Michael is working on that as well. They've got a working group on RPC 1.8.
All right. Okay, and I will provide a quick update on our last disco meeting. And I'm fortunate to have Michael, who's the co-chair, along with me here. So if I miss anything or if I misstate something, Michael's there to helps clarify any of the things that came up. So at that meeting, we actually had a couple of really great topics and presentations and discussions. The first one was around the clear assessment that Beth Leonard, Abby, who's on this, and also Sarah Robbins, who've been involved with this. And I think it was great to kind of hear kind of where what the challenges are, what the limitations, and kind of what are the steps forward with the clear assessment. And I think that there's a lot of things that we can definitely learn from that, that report that they provided. Do Abby, Sarah, and want to provide anything? I know Beth's not on this call, but anything in specific that you want to share around some of the issues and some of the recommendations from the report? No, I like to put people on the spot, so that's
Just excited to work with everybody and find the
Yeah.
right avenue for that engagement. It's really going to require all of us to be thinking a lot about the best way to use these tools that we've got. And there might be some interface with the technology committee, Maya, as I was thinking about. So we might do some cross. Anyway, there might be some interest to get an update there. So I'd love to talk to you more about that. Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was just gonna
Okay.
say, I mean, just I think to add to what Abby said, I think just a reminder that yes, OCLA and NJP are the sort of the ones focused on this right now, but this really is an alliance-wide
Yep.
issue from many perspectives. And we're all going to need to play our roles because there isn't, at a basic level, there is too much volume coming into Clear for any tech solution, any added capacity solution. And so we really need to work as an alliance as to how, what is the role of Clear? How do we refer people to Clear? How do we, and I do this too. We don't just, if we don't have a direct answer for somebody, we just refer them to Clear, and we all have to think differently about the resource.
Yeah.
So you will all be working on this along with us.
Yeah. Well, what I really took away from that is the importance of not just the alliance, but the coordination aspect of it. And also, there's also kind of, it was really, what I also took is some of the overlap of some of the community gap work that the ATJ board and the Bar Association is also doing, because there's different models that I think you all you provided recommendations to around how to get legal information out, how to provide different decentralized ways, whether it's a kiosk at courtrooms or in community centers and things like that, and staffing of that. And I can definitely see, and I'm looking to you, Carla, because I know you are the co-chair of the GAP study that's going to take place on Monday, the day long that's happening on Monday. I think it's going to be really interesting. And that purpose, of course, is just to gather information and, and see what models are out there, but to see kind of where those intersections are. And I think that's where our strengths are really going to be really helpful, is to identify where, the clear assessment, some of the work that's really on the community gap, work that Maya is doing on the technology. I think that there could be some convergence of what that could really look like as possible solutions, because we know that resources are really limited, and that means that we actually have to be more thoughtful around what those coordinated services look like. Other topics, sorry, I was kind of going off script there. But the other topic that I was also really helpful was a self-represented litigant state plan that Chrissy is really involved with at the AOC, and she provided kind of a report on that. And Chrissy, if you wanted to share any highlights about kind of what what that looks like in terms of next steps, or what the work that you've done. I know you've had conferences, and I know Carla was part of the last conference, and you've been pretty involved in some of that work.
Yeah, so I shared this at the DISCO meeting, but the kind of the impetus for the state plan, or for getting together this summit group, was that we were getting a lot of feedback that when it comes to access issues, that the courts need to be leading and weren't. And so it was an attempt to kind of get systems players and other folks in the room. I mean, a large, wide swath of stakeholders together to work on this, but with kind of through the lens of making sure that enough court folks, system folks were there who had an interest in moving the needle on access issues. So we did get a summit last year in person, a summit this year that was virtual. The ultimate result is a state plan that we, the stakeholders have agreed to move forward with and work together. So hopefully folks have seen that being circulated. But in terms of next steps, I mean, it's just one kind of big behemoth thing to get just the agreed upon goals. So we're nearing the finish line of finalizing the plan. And then the next steps are implementation. We've kind of been doing some implementation steps along the way. But the next steps are just going to be collaboration, coordination, outreach, things like that. And moving some of these big goals forward. It's all voluntary. Obviously, we're a non-unified court system, and everybody's there just doing it because they truly care about access. So it's a really good group of people. I feel very optimistic that we're going to see some really cool things happen. So, and I'll say if anybody wants to share with their networks or provide input on the draft state plan, I'll drop it in the chat. But the draft state plan, a kind of quick and dirty one pager of the higher level themes, and a link to the survey to provide feedback are on the Courts Equity and Access Program webpage. So at this point, we're kind of in the final stage, which is just getting as much public feedback as we can, which is hard. There's going to be a media campaign going out through AOC in the coming weeks, with just like a social media blitz and things like that. But that's kind of the final thing before it's finalized. So if anybody has any interest in circulating widely within their networks, it went out on the ATJ general listserv, but happy to share it with anyone who wants more information or would like to give feedback.
Great, thank you. And then the other topic we talked about was GR34, which I think we've already talked extensively about, as well as the, what is it? Oh, no, actually, we also talked about Rule 1.8, which Karen brought up. And then we also talked about, we also had a presenter from the WSBA Rule of Law Ambassador Program, and Law Day is today, or no, it was last year, I think 5/1 last year, and some of the programs that they're doing. So great. And I think the last topic was around interpretation services check-in and troubleshooting, that I think is some of the ongoing conversations about how do we provide, like what are the best services out there for interpretation services and troubleshooting and topics like that. So that's kind of a summary of DISCO meeting. Michael, did I miss anything that or anything that needs to be highlighted?
I think that's a better summary than I think I could.
Oh, it is today. Okay. Gosh, in my notes, I put 25. 2025 said, hold it. Was it 2025? It is. Okay. Sorry. Thanks. Yeah. Sometimes I'm operating from the past. All right. Next, any other committee updates? And I also wanted to know if there's any updates that I know that a lot of the board members are also liaisons or serve on other boards or other commissions and things like that. Anyone, this is kind of like a, any updates that folks want to provide on some of the work that they're doing on different boards or commissions or committees? It's just a free for all, nothing.
I can share. I mean, I attended not this most recent, but 2 ago, the Practice of Law Board meeting, but Michael's on there too, so I'm not in the best place to report back, but it's really interesting because okay, I'm going to give it a go. Entity Pilot Regulation, something, I'm missing a word. That project now has applications rolling in, and it's really interesting. So I am looking forward to seeing some of the innovations that will come in terms of delivery of legal services. But thank you. Okay, project. There, I just missed project. That was the word I missed. Okay. So Michael's in a better spot to give an update, but it's interesting. It's a really kind of cool moment for this space, I think, if we can get some good ideas out into the sphere here.
Yeah. Great. I think we should call it, I like the sandbox because I think that's what it's usually referred to, or we can call it ERP, I guess. Kind of the acronym sound. Okay. Anyone else have any updates? Okay. So let's move on to the ATJ board in Ellensburg and STAR collaboration. Leslie, you want to provide a quick
Hey,
update? I
good
know you
morning.
missed the last meeting, but
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
yes, I was confused with the timing, but yeah, so quick update. As you guys know, we've been working with the STAR committee. The dates are June 25th and the 26th. As of now, we are almost done securing the speakers and the topics. We have secured a venue as well as a caterer. And I believe so, and yours truly will be speaking at one of the little sessions, so that will be exciting. And that is it. Yeah, that's it.
Hopefully it'll be a time when we can all attend, be your
Yeah, I
kind of
hope to
your
see you guys
support.
all there.
Yeah. So great. Yeah, this is actually kind of, I think we've probably mentioned this several times, but this is a great collaboration with the STAR committee. They are looking at doing the rule summit like on the off years that we don't do the ATJ conference. And so I think they're going to be in cadence. So there'll be even years, and the ATJ board will be odd years. But this is a great collaboration and excited. Also, Bonnie would have mentioned this. We did send out the Promoter of Justice nominations. So if folks have nominations for people who either or groups or individuals for the Promoter of Justice, we want to highlight organizations in that area and be able to recognize them at the mixer, which will be on the Thursday before the conference, and then so that's happening. Uh, Leslie or Carla, do you want to talk a little bit about on the road, or what we'll be doing on the road on that Thursday? No? Yes? Comment? Well, I'll start it, and folks can maybe, yeah. So this is the thing. So because we're doing an ATJ board on the road, it's at the day on Thursday before the summit conference, which will be on Friday. And so on Thursday, we are reaching out, or Carla and Leslie are reaching out to organizations to get groups from, Northwest Justice Projects, Columbia Legal Services, other legal service providers, and community organizations to meet with us. I think we are going to meet at the Central Washington University campus for the day, and we'll be having meetings with organizations at that time. If you are in Ellensburg or would like to be part of those conversations, we invite all of you to attend if you can. But that's the plan for that Thursday, is meet with community organization, legal providers. And Carla, Leslie, can you remind me, what are the three topic areas? Because I couldn't remember them. They weren't in my notes.
It's farm workers' rights, immigration rights, and public benefits.
Public benefits. Yep. Great. So also looking to Abby and Sarah, if you have organizations that you think would be, in those topic areas that we should definitely reach out to, please let Carla, Leslie, or I know of groups that you think could really speak to those specific topic areas. We'd like to invite them to these group meetings so that we can have conversations. Yeah, Abby? Yeah.
Can you list the subject matters again? Farm workers is what piqued my interest, but you said two other things. Immigration.
Immigration and public benefits.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Yep. In the locale, right? Not statewide necessarily, or anyone.
It's close to Ellensburg as we can get. Like, we have some organizations that are like an hour or 2 hours outside of Ellensburg. We're trying to keep it as close to Ellensburg as we can. But it's kind of like growing. People are saying, you should contact these people, or I'd like to invite these people. And so I think it's kind of getting spread out, just like it's kind of morphing a little bit and gaining some ground. But I think we have generated some interest in this. People are excited.
Yes. Great.
And to whom should we connect? Is it Carla or?
Either one of us would be fine. Yeah, and Yvette, because Yvette is she's kind of taking a look at the public benefits piece
Public
of it.
benefits, yeah.
And so she's scheduled a meeting with an organization for us to allow them to ask us some questions about what's going to happen, and then we can get a little more information from them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so any questions from board members and everything else? I think that Bonnie will be sending out, or might have already sent out information about plans for hotels and things like that. We'll be staying at the same hotel that Star Committee people are going to attend. It's going to be downtown Ellensburg, and I think probably more details to come. So, all right. Next topic is updates from alliance partners and stakeholders. So this is going to be kind of an open session. I think in the past, like I think I mentioned last meeting, it would be funding updates, but I think the common theme is no more funding or limited funding. So I think we're shifting to what are some topics or priorities or things that you would like to kind of share with the board. Michael.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm going to try to jump in first. I'm going to see if I can sneak out for an 11 o'clock meeting right after this. Hi, everyone. I'm with the Washington Pro Bono Council. I think I know most of you. One thing you may not know that we do is the Disaster Legal Services phone line. Whenever there is a FEMA declared disaster in Washington State, there is usually federal support in the form of LSC ABA employee that kind of coordinates response on the pro bono side for assistance with FEMA appeals, insurance denials and problems, and really any sort of civil legal problem that is directly related to the disaster. It's generally been run as kind of a partnership between Pro Bono Council and Northwest Justice Project. NJP has been really great because the field offices are often in the counties that are affected. Our recent disaster was probably the biggest one, well, certainly the biggest one since I've been working in this position. And we usually have 2 or 3 counties affected. We had a disaster declaration approved just this last week for 10 counties and 1 tribal nation. So it's a much bigger scope. The phone line is officially going to be opening today. I'm trying to coordinate with the FEMA staff that work at the disaster resource centers, because that's usually where our flyers go and that's where our referrals come from. But it's not a super complicated operation. Folks call in, we do a quick intake, and we try to route them and refer them to the closest, usually pro bono program or NJP office that's able to take the case. The volume isn't super high on this phone line. We typically have like less than 10 per disaster, but like I said, we have a much bigger one this time. So we're expecting we might have a much larger potential client base this time around. I wanted to make sure I mentioned it because if you think there's places where we could do more outreach, or if the ATJ board or any of the members here have connections already with disaster resource centers or disaster response organizations in the affected counties, please send any contacts my way. I will kind of try to give updates as we go, but like I said, this is a much bigger disaster. We're not expecting a huge rush of need, but you never know. So I just wanted to put it on the radar, let you know it's something we're working on, and make sure there was an opportunity if anyone had questions about it, that I'm able to answer those now.
Any questions for Michael? All right. Every time you say something, Michael, it's like your scope of work. I just like, oh wow, you're doing this too, and you're doing this too, and you're doing this too. It's like, wow, that's a lot on your to-do list. And so I didn't realize this at all. So thanks for providing us that update. All right. Anyone else have any updates? Oh, Abby, yep, see your hand.
Hi, just wanted to update for folks who might not know, and something that Scott had flagged. that we need to do a better job of is to remind folks that we are hosting the substantive law area task forces. Usually it's a monthly meeting where people can call in, but this month in May is our in-person family law task force meeting held at Perkins Coie downtown in Seattle, and also by Zoom. And I'm having a hard time. I was going to pop in the chat I was going to upload the agenda, but I can't. I don't have that capability to upload a doc, I don't think. So I'm happy to send it to Andrea or somebody else. Just you might be curious to see it. And if there are folks who are new to your programs or if there are providers here that want to get on that task force list to get those updates and invitations, please
Abby, I just made
contact
you a
us.
co-host. You might be able to
Oh.
send it now.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Oh, I have all these powers now. I can mute and unmute people. I can shut the meeting down. Oh my gosh, such power.
I thought you could handle it.
Yeah. I'm not able to right now, but it's on Friday the 15th. And registration is open and we'll provide lunch, and it's usually a really great opportunity to get together, but I still can't do it. So that's okay if I can just email it to the ATJ board. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Abby. And Sarah?
Yeah, so OCLA is doing a presentation with the Equal Justice Coalition on May 12th, and basically like a overview of OCLA's budget. And this is really so that folks have more transparency into how our budget currently operates, how we plan for legislative sessions and decision packages, and then hopefully getting some feedback around future funding requests. So this is, I know EJC sent out a calendar invite. It's May 12th at 9 a.m. And anyone is welcome to join. If you need the calendar invite, feel free to reach out to me. I think a couple folks on this meeting, I think, are on that calendar invite as well. So we would love as many ATJ board members to be there. We really want to. We don't want our, how we do our funding, how our budget operates to be a mystery. Yeah, I think that's the only update I have right now.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I did sign up for that, and so I'm looking forward to it. I think especially with this board, just knowing kind of like how funding works, because it's still even a mystery, even though I've been on the board for a while now, of how funding works, but also the relationship with EJC. Because I think that there is that board connection with us and EJC, and I still am not fully clear. And so to me, the more I learn about it, the more, or we all learn, especially the board members learn, the more we can lean into kind of what that role is and how is that connected to the ATJ board and things like that. So I think there is some learning opportunity, but I do have that on my calendar, and I'm also happy. Diana, I think, can you forward it to the board members, or I can also forward it after this meeting, just so it's on folks' calendar. The reason I didn't forward it, Sarah, was because I wasn't sure if this was like you wanted to limit the number of folks or anything else. Okay, so I'm glad that you answered that question, because I was thinking, okay, I'm going to accept, but I don't know if I can forward this, because some things are, you want smaller conversations. So appreciate you planning that meeting. All right. And any updates from LFW or law school? Oh, law schools. Yep. Lily, sorry, I just saw your hand. Sorry.
I just wanted to say a quick thank you to the Office of Civil Legal Aid, because I see Sarah here. We have 3 law students that have been funded by OCLA this summer to assist with eviction defense, 2 at King County Housing Justice Project and 1 at Tacoma Pro Bono. 2 of them have past housing experience. All 3 of them are super excited. There was one student that came to see me yesterday, and she said that she had been working so hard to figure out how to pay for her summer public interest funding, and she was trying to parse out the money that she had and just said how grateful that she was for this. So I just wanted to share how important and how impactful it is for what all of you do, as including OCLA, to help our students in moving forward in public interest during the summertime.
Wow,
Thank
that's
you,
great.
Lily. We love so many of our interns, especially in the eviction defense, have gone on to become housing attorneys in the space. So in addition to Seattle U, we will also have, I think, 2 students from UW and 2, maybe 3 from Gonzaga on the east side of the mountains. And then we will also, new this summer, we will have an intern working with the YWCA in Spokane on DV and survivor legal issues. And that person will be from Gonzaga since it's on that side of the state. Yeah, and we have some other thoughts on some other intern programs as well.
Wow, great. That's great news. Kristen.
Hi everyone. Usually you see Caitlin or Emily here, but for anybody who doesn't know me, I'm the Director of Operations at the Legal Foundation. And this week we had our annual meeting with the Supreme Court. As usual, it was a great opportunity for us to educate them on the projects LFW is working on, particularly our newest justices who don't know our work as deeply necessarily. So that was great. And the other big thing at LFW right now is the endowment's big upcoming event with Stacey Abrams. That's on May 14th. And we encourage anybody who's interested to RSVP early. We expect it to sell out.
Great.
And that's all my updates.
Yeah. All great updates. So thank you so much. And thanks for being here too.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So, all right. Any other updates that folks have here? All right. Actually, I don't mean to put people on the spot. Carla, do you want to give an update on this coming meeting on Monday? With the scoping? Oh, you're on mute, Carla. Oh, I think you're still on mute, or I think you're still on, yeah, or maybe I'm not hearing it.
No,
there you
there
go.
we go. Oh my goodness, I apologize. So Monday is our first our retreat for the launch of this work. And so it's an all-day in-person event. And so we'll be launching the Justice Gap Solutions Scoping Work Group. We're going to really get to know each other and align on an understanding of what the scope is, what's out of scope. We're going to do our community agreements, define our roles, and we're going to confirm the upcoming dates for the next retreat. So we have a schedule. We have to do 3 more in-person retreats. I believe there's 5 total before the end of August. And so we've got to come up with the dates and the places, the locations for those retreats. And because we have the soccer thing is coming up in Seattle, so we may have to even kind of think about alternative locations for to have these retreats, with Seattle being just super busy. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to break up the literature that we have identified and break that up amongst the 16 members of the scoping group, and kind of get our homework going on that.
Yep. Yeah. I just want to thank you and Jordan Couch, who's also the co-chair, who is who was brought in from the WSBA, and also Bonnie, who is kind of the orchestrator of this work, and Diana, who's also a member of that team. And I mean, it's going to be a sprint in the next 4 or 5 months. But I am excited to kind of see and hear what you learn around the different models out there around the community justice work that's happening across this country, and what are some of the viable, solution or recommendations, I should not solution, but recommendations that come out from all those meetings. But um, it's a lot of literature reading, and I know there's a lot of planning and it's a lot of work. So thank you so much for leading that, for co-leading that work. So,
I'm excited too. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great learning opportunity. Thank you.
anybody have any questions for Carla on that work? I know that OCLA has a representative, and I know that we have some representatives from other different organizations on that. All right. Next topic is legal aid, fundraiser, and roundtable returns. Diana.
Yes, there's a slight typo. It should be legal aid fundraiser and communicators roundtable. And the reason why I just want to correct that in that typo is because the acronym is LAFCO. So hopefully that catches your attention because it has the word laughing in. We all need any of that we could get, we should do. So this is thanks to LFW. So Kristen, feel free to chime in, but this is sort of a bringing back a committee that existed pre-pandemic called LAFCO, which is Legal Aid Fundraisers and Communicators. And it's bringing together staff from legal aid organizations who do work in communications and fundraising and creating a space for them to connect with each other, to learn, to share ideas. So folks aren't doing this in silos and all alone. So the kickoff is June 24th from 1 to 2. It's a virtual meeting. And the goals is really sort of to take a look at, how can we reprise this group and really sort of share resources so we could do more. And Kristen, I don't know if you want to share anything else from LFW's and
I don't have a whole lot of information on that. Our development team is heavily involved and really, I know in the past, got a lot of value out of this group. It's a really important way for us to coordinate across the alliance.
And so all the information was already sent out on the ATJ community listserv. So if you didn't see it, it was sent out last Thursday. Take a look at your inboxes, and if not, let me know and I could send it to you. But think about people on your teams who are doing this work, even if it's not their official staff the job description. But I think a lot of us are thinking about how can we, particularly around communications. So I think it could be a valuable space for people to connect to.
All right. Any questions for Diana or for Kristen? Okay, so we're on the 5-minute announcements and we are early. So any last minute announcements that haven't been made or brought up or anything?
I just wanted to follow up with the soccer thing. If people haven't been tracking, it's we're just a block south of the a block north of the north parking lot for Lumen Field. So there's going to be just a bunch of closures in addition to a ton of people. And for folks that for situational awareness, it's just really good to know. What's been great is that they've been able to do a lot of infrastructure, light rail from the east side is up because they were rushing it for this, which is fantastic, I guess. But it might also be an opportunity for us to raise awareness about what events like this or like the Super Bowl draws that's not good for our communities. And so if you've ever been on there's like a Seattle FIFA, an old friend of legal aid, right? What's his name? Leo, that wasn't King County, but he's on the group, the Seattle FIFA World Cup organizing group. So if you guys know him, get his ear about some stuff. But if you are like for example, we know that people are trafficked both for work and for sex during big events like this. And so when you're looking at, I'm going to find it real quick, not that, but the front page of their like get ready for this. Also like one of the big, it's like it's such a big deal to put it on front that human rights is important. There's trainings about how to spot human trafficking. Like it's just such a known quantity about events like this, that it's something that people are, so for good or for the good we can take from it is there are trainings there. We can encourage people to talk about it. We can talk about the need for support for folks who are trafficked. And so that might be on the comms side of this, right? Back to getting LAFCO started. This might be an opportunity for us to say, look, I mean, I was trying to find a way to, like, we're going to be so disrupted here. So I was like, FIFA, can I have some of that? I mean, it's dirty money, but I'll take the money if I can get like a language access, like, staff, person to for 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? So anyway, just a point of it's a big deal. It's happening. It's going to be disruptive for the whole region. And there's a lot that's happening that we should be putting up front of mind for folks. Also have fun. Like people love football. Get it?
Yeah, I think also we're seeing like the city of Seattle, we're seeing Mayor Wilson trying to move people indoors. I think we know that we are probably not going to have enough resources by June to move people indoors. So people will be displaced, people will lose belongings, people will be disrupted. I mean, there's a lot that's like sort of the second, and I mean, my family is, we live and die by soccer in our household. So this is a big deal, but also like it has a lot of consequences for people in the city that are, on the margins.
Yeah.
I have another question. Going back to Lily, what you were sharing about law students and what's happening at schools. Is there a committee where pipeline into legal aid is a primary focus or priority for one of the committees? Okay, or was there an old one that we can revive like we're doing with LAFCO? I just think that we should consider how much money these schools have and how much work people go into like, raising money through PILA or PILF to try to make this go. I think it's criminal, like how big UW's endowment is and how little money is going to support students who want to go into legal aid. So just gonna say it out loud, and then I'm gonna go, I don't know.
I was just gonna, like, for history purposes, there used to be a law school relations committee.
Oh yeah.
I was on for many years, and maybe you were on. Anyhow,
I was.
Yeah, I thought so. I think that's where we met. Anyhow, we did used to have that committee.
Full circle.
And there was, that was the committee that did the Alliance summer, orientation thing. So yeah, I think that's something to think about. Also, thinking about public service loan forgiveness issues.
Yes.
I know Maya is the board sort of like keeping track, but there may be a need to create a new group or a subgroup of DISCO. I'm not really sure, but I'm glad you highlighted that.
Yep. All right. Any other announcements that folks want to share? Any other questions? Okay. Did I miss anything, Diana, or any board members that I should share out, or anything that folks on the board want to share out to our guest? No? All right.
So.
Well, hey, we must be good at managing time, or we're just really, hey, we want to get on with our weekend. But first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here today. Sometimes it's it's one of those monthly meetings, and hopefully it brings value to attending these meetings. As always, I always appreciate feedback. on how we can make these much more interactive, more conversational, more thought. And so really, really appreciate the guests who've made that commitment to come every month on the first Friday of every month in the mornings to join with us. And we've really learned a lot from our partnerships, and we learned a lot from your questions and feedback. And really appreciate. Oh, next meeting is, I think the next meeting, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be the. I'm sorry.
It's June 5th,
Oh,
Friday, June
June
5th.
5th? Okay.
I was looking at disco. Thank you.
Oh, disco? Wait.
Yeah, I was looking to see if it was on the agenda when the next meeting was, that's all. And I pulled up the disco meeting
Okay.
notes instead of this one. But you said it was June what? Sorry.
June 5th.
Thank you.
It sounds like from Diane. Yep. Yeah. And then I also want to invite, like, if there's any topics or agenda topics that you think we should know more about or the board should be aware of, please let me know, and or myself or Bonnie or Andrea for our what we do for our agenda setting for these public meetings is we typically will discuss it at the executive committee meeting, which happens 2 weeks prior to this meeting. So if you have any topics that you think that the board should know about or conversation pieces that we should know, if you can just let us know in the next couple of weeks, because we do create our agenda. We start forming our agenda around 2 weeks before this meeting. The executive committee meets together. We come up with the agenda. Sometimes we have last minute additions, which is always something that we can do, but we can definitely, that's our, that is kind of our cadence. And so if you have topics or things that you think the ATJ board should know about, or you want more information from the board, those are opportunities for us to have that at that time and place for those conversations. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for
Oh,
attending.
I was just
And
gonna,
yeah,
sorry,
go
I
ahead,
was
Diane.
wanting to answer Abby's questions about the meeting, and I'm just realizing the link to our meeting calendar is not working. So that would be helpful. So we'll fix that. But just to answer your question, Abby, the next ATJ board meeting is for June is June 5th. The next disco meeting is May 18th because of the holiday. And then in July, the ATJ board meeting is July 10th. But we'll fix the schedules on the Alliance website, that link, so that you can always go to that to just check.
Yep. Chrissy.
I realized I did have one announcement, and I think it's more relevant to the ATJ board. We got an email from Bonnie about the BJA strategic initiative proposal that our proposal was not accepted. So for those that attended the last meeting, we submitted a kind of quick turnaround proposal to have the Board for Judicial Administration look at court rules, simplification of court rules, putting court rules into plain language. Every 2 years, the BJA does a strategic initiative that they kind of think tank on their own. And so we put this in as a proposal where hoping that they would agree to look at court rules and look at plain language and what the branch could do to improve access, particularly for unrepresented litigants around confusing rules. But that proposal was not accepted, so we found that out this week and just wanted to share that out.
Yeah, thanks, Chrissy. I forgot to mention that. Thank you for flagging that. So, yeah, I think it's not a completely dead issue. I think it should be something that that the courts and the board should continue to work on. But I think it was our attempt to try to put it in that short window for them to consider. So thank you for leadership on that, as well as Maya's leadership on drafting that proposal to the BJA. So thank you. All right. Well, I will see you all next month, and hope you have a nice sunny weekend wherever you were doing. And take care, everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.